So welcome everybody. I'm so excited today to have an extraordinary person and friend, David Wish. Fueled by his belief that all people are innately musical, Dave founded Music Will, a nonprofit organization that funds and runs one of the largest instrumental and vocal music programs in US public schools today. And I might add that many, many public schools no longer have music or any arts programs, and that is a tragedy. So he is a hero. Music Will is also a leading provider of free instruments and curricula. Dave has initiated and managed the launch of campaigns to restore, expand, and innovate music education for more than 1 million children in 44 states. So that's a lot of kids to have, Dave. Bravo for that. In 2008, Dave conceived something he called modern band. Since that time, modern band programs have been written into the music curriculum of school districts across the country, and a number of state departments of education have partnered with Music Will to make a modern band a statewide feature of their educational offerings. He'll tell us more about what that all means. And needless to say, Dave has been awarded numerous honors, prestigious fellowships, been on boards, has offered generous support to struggling organizations and more. But I would rather talk to him. So, hi, Dave.
Hey, Shari.
I'm so glad you're here. And I really believe that your biggest message is the message that this group and all humans need to hear about believing in themselves. So let me ask you, it's kind of crazy. You've had an unusual set of careers. You flunked first grade and then you taught it for 10 years. You quit every school music program you were offered and you still can't read music. And thousands of K through 12 public schools across the country use a teaching method that you invented, and that methodology is being used at nearly 100 college music ed programs. Get out of here. What is that all about?
Well, thank you, Shari, and it's a pleasure to be here, and it's beautiful to see everybody. I'll just start by saying that, my biggest contribution to the field is recognizing that they call it playing music for a reason. If it feels like work, you're probably doing it wrong. Like it's actually just supposed to be fun, right? And beyond fun, it's supposed to be meaningful. So I guess I would just start by saying, I know this is a vulnerable space, so I now officially look sillier than anybody. Don't take me too seriously. Don't take yourselves too seriously. That's So as a kid, I felt probably like a lot of kids that school was like this big part of my life, but it wasn't really made for me per se. I know that on the surface it was supposed to be, but my brain didn't really work the way school worked, or sometimes it did, but oftentimes it didn't. So I know the theme for today is sort of like how we are perceived and how we are understood. And I think a lot of times people thought that I was uninterested or slow or what's the word, adversarial. But I think for myself, I felt like I felt like I was going in one direction, my education was going in another. So when I became a first grade school teacher, I felt a lot of empathy for all of the kids. And I remember learning something from someone smarter than myself, which was that if kids don't learn the way that we teach, we can just teach the way that they learn. And I don't think, I sort of like, I saw a bumper sticker once that said, "Why be normal?" And I thought, well, the main reason not to be normal is that's an impossible norm. Like normal by whose definition?
Exactly.
Normal is just like an unachievable thing. And I think that's one of the things that's a big challenge in education is somehow we're teaching towards some like cutout, a silhouette of what a child or a human is like, oh, well, let's go to the middle of the road. But the truth of the matter is everyone's on one side of those two things. So
And I would add that there are dozens of recognized neurodiversities. People learn differently, but we are beat up for however uniquely our brains work. So to be able to survive, to ever feel comfortable expressing ourselves in our unique voice is a big deal. Congratulations.
Well, yeah, and like, whatever. I was, a long story, but like when my mother died, I was diagnosed as having this was only a couple of years ago. Anyways, I won't go into the whole thing, but I went to see, I was in, therapy about it because she was dying in my house and I was, sad and everything. And the doctor's like, I think you're sad. I don't think you're depressed. There's not a lot about you that has that, but I also think you have ADHD, which came as a surprise to nobody except for me. But the more I've looked back at my life and sort of my career, and just whatever, everything I do, it's like, oh yeah, that's the weird contours of how my brain works. And it's not like everyone else who has ADHD. It's just the way my ADHD brain works. And what I've come to learn is, it's a superpower and it's a limitation, like everybody. We're all limited. That's kind of like why we're humans. So let's talk about I want to pivot to the music thing. So like I didn't drop out of school, thankfully, but I did drop out of like every music program, and I have a new word for that too. I don't think of it as being a dropout. I think of it as being a push out, and I think that that's what the schools do in general to people. People don't drop out; they're pushed out. They feel like they don't belong. They feel like there's something missing. They feel like there's something either deficient in themselves or they feel like there's something deficient in the schools. So, I was working as a first grade school teacher, teaching second language kids. I was a Spanish speaker, still am. And I was bummed out that there was no music program for the kids at my school. So I started offering free lessons just as a thing that would be meaningful to me, to my kids. And it's a much longer story how that turned into, music will, but I'll just say a couple things that I think are thematic here. I bet everybody here can do this with me. This is an exercise I like to do with teachers. Think of a time in your life where anybody denigrated your creativity in any way. Just come up with an image or a memory. Now, with a show of hands, show the age you were from where that memory is from. Just put it up there. If you have multiple tens, you can flash it. 4, 10, 3, 6. I don't think there's many people here close to those ages. So you carry those kinds of memories with you like luggage for the rest of your life, or you can. But now here's the flip side. Think of a time when somebody elevated your creativity, whatever it was. Wow, I didn't know you could play guitar. Wow, you're a wonderful poet. Wow, what a beautiful singing voice. You painted that? Wow, this is the best written essay I've read in a long time. You're like, oh yeah, I guess I am okay at that or whatever. And like every school teacher has a light switch in a child's life. And you get to pick where you're going to, or it's more like a slider, right? Where you're going to slide it to. So I learned that the way that I was musical was not like, and I guess I'll just close this way because I think we want to move on to the rest of this thing. But like, I believe that being musical is just a byproduct of being human, right? If you're human, you're musical. Your heart's beating, you walk in time, and think of all the ways there are of being human. There's equally as many ways of being musical. And this is nothing new. This is nothing that I've invented. I've just been channeling it and broadcasting it and bringing other amazing teachers like Andrew Wang, who I see here on the phone call, and other people, and Diane Harris. And it's like, yeah, duh, we get it. And our way isn't better than another way. So like, why not? Again, this is, for the time being, still a democratic society. Let every way flourish. So music or just my philosophy is, let the intrinsic motivation, the internal motivation to make music be that which propels a person's journey. And I'll close by saying, and I think you could pivot this to any subject, but to me, the purpose of music education in a public school, and I believe the music education comes to school, right? Kids don't come empty vessels. They come with all this music, is to make sure that the greatest number of children people can make the greatest amount of music for the greatest amount of meaning, for the greatest amount of their lives. And everything else is just smoke and mirrors. It doesn't matter. Rigor, state standards, you need to do this, you need to do that. I don't know. I don't buy that. I don't believe that. And that's one of the reasons I love the creative method. And I'm looking forward to be joining you guys, because what a madcap whirlwind tour it is of suddenly like being thrust into just open creativity as a writer. And creativity, likes to jump domains. So anyways, it's a pleasure to be here, and I want to be mindful of time. Was that a good amount of time?
That's amazing. I mean, I'm just going to go. No, that was perfect. Thank you so much. There's so much to be said. And I really look forward to getting to talk to you again later. But um, whenever you're talking about depth and truth and beauty, you can talk about it in any language, in any vernacular, in any art form, in any human form. So science, the humanism in science, the humanism in music, we all come together. And I'm going to turn up the recording, but I am going to say, vote.